My dear friends, there are three types of people in this world. And these three types of people are also found in our parishes. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. There are few who make things happen. The many more who watch things happen. And the overwhelming majority who have no notion of what happens. Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, on Friday we saw the theme on communion. Yesterday we saw the theme on participation. And today, on this Feast of Good Shepherd, we are called to reflect on the theme of mission. For those of you who have been faithfully coming for the 3 days, I remembered sharing with you that communion begins in our families. Participation begins in the bigger family, and that is the church. And mission invites us to move out from the bigger family to the world out there. The words of Mark Twain, who said this: there are two great days in a person's life. The day we are born and the day we discover why. One is easier than the other. One is a date in time. It's April the 30th or October the 1st. It's a moment when you celebrate every year. It's a date when you made your first public appearance. That day is easy. The other one isn't. It's probably not a literal date at all. It's the moment when you finally figure out why God put you on planet Earth. It is the reason you joined many other people floating through space. There are two great days in a person's life: the day we are born and the day we discover why. The first day explains your presence, my presence on earth, and the second explains your purpose and my purpose. My dear friends, often it takes a long time to discover why we were born. We weren't put on earth to live for oneself. I believe if God has placed us in this planet earth, it must be for a greater purpose than simply to make money or simply to build career or retire and die. I believe if God has placed us on this planet Earth, it must be for one reason, and that is all of us, we all made for a mission. And that mission gives your life meaning. That mission gives my life meaning. In other words, you are unique. No one else in the world, past, present, or future, is like you. God has made you so unique that there are certain things only you can contribute to the world. Only you can give that to the world. Those things make up your life mission. My dear friends, until you know your life mission, you are just existing. You are just floating. Life may seem good, but you won't experience the fulfillment you would if you were living out God's intentions for you. Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, it's very important for us as we celebrate the Feast of the Good Shepherd, your parish feast. It's good for all of us to reflect on this whole understanding of mission. God wired you to make a difference. He wired you to make a contribution in this world. You were not put on this earth to take up space or use resources. God uniquely shaped you so you can make a unique contribution. So you need to ask yourself, based on how God wired me, What is the greatest contribution I can make for this parish, not elsewhere? How can I make a difference in the parish of the Good Shepherd? How can I make a difference? If you want to make an impact with your life, you've got to do one thing. Get control of your time. Sometimes we give a litany of excuses that we don't have time, we don't have this, we don't have that. Get control of your time. Your time is your life. If you don't manage your time, you will limit the legacy of your life. You will limit the legacy of your life. Now, the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians, chapter 5, verses 15 to 17, St. Paul says, be very careful how you live. Live wisely. I mean that you should use every chance you have for doing good, but learn what the Lord wants you to do. Very beautifully, St. Paul says that. Learn what the Lord wants you to do. Learn to manage your time. When you manage your time, you're able to contribute your life, your resources, your gifts to the people around you, to the world. My dear sisters and brothers, we all have the same amount of time every week. 168 hours. It's what you do with that counts. You have been allotted a certain number of days in this world. If you waste them, you have blown it. If you waste time, you are wasting your life, because your time is your life. You have to stop and ask, is this the best use of my time? Is this the best use of my life? Forget it of what has happened in the past. We are living in the present. And so ask yourself, is this the best use of my life? Don't let the past pollute the present. The past is your history. What you and I have is the present. You don't have time for everything. And the good news is God doesn't expect you to do everything. So don't feel guilty about it. There are only a few things worth doing in the first place. Effective people figure out what's essential in life and what's trivial, and spend time doing the essential things and less doing the trivial things. You can't eliminate all the non-essentials in your life, but you can reduce it. Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, today as we celebrate this theme of mission, it's very important to reflect the life, the gift, the faith, the resources that God has given to you. All of us, we have something to contribute to this parish. Yes, every one of us. We do not worry about the extraordinary gifts. We do not worry that this small gift, whether it would make any impact in this parish or not. No. God sees the little that you can give, and God is happy with that. So remember, my dear friends, God made you for a mission and a purpose. Then ask yourself, is what I'm doing the best use of my life? Today, as we celebrate this Holy Mass, I'm sure all of us, we all have something to contribute, something that we can give to others. It's never too late to begin. It's never too late to discover God's plan for you. The great evangelist Billy Graham once said, no matter who you are or what you have done, God has never stopped loving you. And He has a good plan and purpose for your life. The words of Billy Graham. No matter who you are or what you have done, God has never stopped loving you. and has a good plan and purpose for your life. Yes, it's very important for us to ponder on this, to reflect on this. Because all of us here, by the virtue of the sacrament of baptism, that God has called us for a purpose. And only you can carry out that purpose, that action, that work that has been allotted to you. So discover what it is. So once again, I say this. There are three types of people in our churches, in our parishes. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. Where are you in these types? Where are you? Are you a number one, a number two, or number three? Let me conclude with this story that I read about a tombstone. There is a tombstone in the courtyard of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. It says, "Sacred to the memory of General Charles George Gordon, who at all times and everywhere gave his strength to the weak, his substance to the poor, his sympathy to the suffering, his heart to God." Another tombstone in the nearby cemetery says, "Here lies a person who lives for himself and cared for nothing but gathering wealth. Nowhere his or how he fares. Nobody knows and nobody cares." What a contrast, and a contrast prompting some self-examination. I said to myself, I wonder which one would describe me if I were to be buried today. Which one would describe each of you? So my dear friends, let us take a moment in our reflection. Let us look on this theme of mission. And I'm sure that when we pull all our resources together, the Church of the Good Shepherd can be a living testimony for the whole Archdiocese. Because why? You have a very unique name, the Church of the Good Shepherd. A good shepherd who lays down his lives for his friends. Will you willing to lay down your lives? Will you willing to lay down your time, your presence, your uniqueness, the person that you are? Will you willing to lay down for the community at large? And I pray, and we all pray, that the Church of the Good Shepherd becomes a church that goes out and reaches out to others and brings the gospel of joy to all people. And it begins from me. It begins from me. Not your neighbor, not anyone else. It begins from each one of us. Remember what Mark Twain says? There are two great purposes in our life: the day we were born and the day we discover why we were born. There must be a purpose why we're existing in this planet Earth. Figure out. And I'm sure the Lord will enlighten you why you are kept here in this planet Earth. We pray.